So, Kal Kadosh, we're going to continue with Daf Pe Aleph Amud Aleph. We are at the Mishnah. The Mishnah says as follows: Mutzi etzem. If somebody is going to take out a bone, kedei laasot tarvad, in order to make a kaf out of it. A kaf is like a spoon. Here you have a tarvad. You see the bone and the spoon. Okay. So it says Rabbi Yehuda argues and he says kedei laasot mimenu chaf, in order to make it for it a minal, which a minal is a shoe. I don't have anything here. Okay. Zechuchit, you're going to take out glass. Kedei ligror bo rosh hakivkar. It's in order to take out a makel etz, a piece of wood, which is mechudad shel haoreg, of the person, right? So this is kivkar, is this. It's like a utensil, which is, that means they shave it. You see it? Sorry. Again. Okay.
You're back.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the internet. Okay. Then it says tzror. If you're going to take out a tzror, so the tzror is we're talking about a piece of stone, okay, or even, or a stone. It has to be in order to throw it to a bird, in order to shoo away the bird. Eliezer ben Yaakov says, it's not big enough for a bird to fly away. It has to be a big enough stone that you would throw at an animal to run away. Okay? Says the Gemara. So again, we're on Pe Aleph Amud Aleph Gemara. Says the Gemara. Lemeimra the shiura de Rabbi Yehuda nafish. Are you going to tell me that the shiur of Rabbi Yehuda is going to be a bigger shiur, right? And he's always usually the mekel, right? Akaimelan, we always say shiura de Rabbanan nafish. That the shiur of Rabbanim is bigger. And therefore, Rabbi Yehuda is always more machmir, right? Which means Rabbi Yehuda is always the one which is more machmir, so it's always going to be a much smaller amount, not a bigger amount. So how do we understand this? Because in the Reisha, because the Reisha was Rabbi Yehuda, it says in the Mishnah, if you take out a bone, it's in order to make either the kaf, which is basically the spoon, or what we showed you the picture, to make the kaf, which is a minal, which is a shoe. So what's bigger, a shoe or a spoon? Obviously, the shoe is bigger, so how could it be? Usually, Rabbi Yehuda is more machmir. So answers the Gemara. Amar Ula says, Chape potachat. We're talking about the Shim'e min'ol, right? Which is basically, let's see if I have it here. This is the potachat and this is the nagar. Basically, it's Chape potachat. Shinayim, these are the teeth which are kvuim potachat. Right? Over here. This is the potachat. Okay, how do you translate in English? It's like from the door, like what is it? It's the mechanism of the door lock?
It's the teeth of a lock.
The teeth of a lock. Okay, very good. So it's the teeth of a lock. Okay, fine. Then it says like this. So we said the chape potachat is the teeth of the lock of what it was there. So when we're talking about the teeth of the lock, tehorim, they are going to be tahor. Okay? Why? Because the way that they are right now, the teeth, you can't use them for anything. But if you put the teeth of the lock in the lock, to mean now it became a utensil, therefore it's going to be tameh. Vishel gal, if you have of a gal, which is basically of an entrance. So it says over here, this is the potachat of an entrance, of a gal. So you have an entrance, and here's the potachat. So if you put it inside of there, even if you did put the teeth, badelet, into the door, and you put it with the nails, teorin, it's going to be tahor. Why? Anything which is connected to the ground is considered the ground. Okay? So again, where are the two dots? Mamash at the beginning of the page. Pe Aleph Amud Aleph. We're going ahead. Okay? So we're on the two dots where it says, right, that zechuchit. You're taking out zechuchit. So it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 lines down. Zechuchit. So if you're going to take out zechuchit, glass, it's the shiur of kedei ligror bo rosh hakivkar. In order, right, we said, in order to take out the oreg, which is this part, this picture. you're shaving it off. That's the utensil of the weaver. Okay? So it says the Gemara, Tana, we learned in the Braita, Motzi Sechuchit, Kedei Liftzua Bashnein Mimin Keachat. So it's in order to cut two different threads in one shot. Because basically Sechuchit and Zechuchit is the same thing, but the Zayin and Samech are interchangeable. Remember, many times when the letters are coming from the same place of where they come from, so they are interchangeable. So for example, Zas Shirat comes from the teeth, right? Because if you don't close your teeth, you cannot make a Zayin, right? Try doing Zayin with your teeth open. Ayin. You can't do a Zayin. Z, z. You need the teeth in order to make the Zayin, or the Samech, right? So Zas, sh. If you don't have the teeth, try doing the Shin with your mouth open. You can't. You need the teeth in order to make certain letters. And that's with everything, right? For example, the Bumath, Bet Vav Mem Fei, is with the lips. If you don't have the lips, you cannot do it. Try doing a bet without the lips. You can't. You need the lips for the B. You understand? The B. The bet comes from the lips. A Zas Shiratz, Zayin and Samech, comes from the teeth. So many times letters that come from the same place, whether it's the guttural sounds or all the other ones, they're interchangeable, right? Just like we learned the other day to do with Hagmi'ini, na, right? Is a Gmwa with an Ayin or an Aleph, since they're both guttural sounds, so they're interchangeable. And that's what we actually asked the question, which one is it? Okay? So it says over here, the next two dots, Sror or Even, if you're taking out a stone, right? Any types of rocks or stones, so we said in the Mishnah, to throw it at a bird, it's big enough in order to be chayav. And the next one was, Eliezer ben Yaakov says, to throw it at an animal, meaning it's not enough, big enough to throw it at a bird and the bird will run away. I apologize again. I don't know if it's the weather or I don't know what it is exactly. So it has to be bigger enough in order to throw at an animal and the animal will run away. So it says the Gemara, Rabbi Yaakov, Rabbi Yochanan, says Rabbi Yaakov and Rabbi Yochanan, Behu shemargeshet ba, which means on condition that it's big enough, the animal will feel it, which means when you throw it at it, it will feel it. It's not just stam, right, that it's going to be afraid, right? Because it actually says here, many times a person will be afraid. I once saw this live. There was a dog in Eretz Yisrael. I still remember the Seder Yeshiva. He was very big and very, like a bark. Somebody went and he taught me a trick. It's something incredible. You go, you put your hand down and you pretend that you're throwing at something and the dog will jump like this. But you had nothing in your hand. There was nothing there. And you don't do it once. You could do it 2, 3, and he'll continue doing it. Obviously, he'll try to start coming and attack you afterwards, but when it's coming, why? Because it thinks you're showing that you're pulling the bluff that you're going to throw something at it. So here, even if you do throw something at it, it has to be strong enough that the animal will feel it, not just stam. Okay, v'kama shiuro. So what is the shiur that an animal will feel it if you throw it at a rock? Says the Gemara, Tanya Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says, Mishkal asara zuz. It has to be the weight of 10 zuz, 42.5 grams. Okay, so you take a rock that weighs 42.5 grams. Okay, fine. Says the Gemara, Zunin al be midrash. Zunin once went into the Bet Midrash. Amar lehu, so he told the Chachamim, Rabotai, avanim shel Bet HaKiseh shiuram bekama. How much are the stones of the Bet HaKiseh? Remember that once upon a time when they didn't have paper, they used to use stones to wipe themselves, right? So how would they do that in the Bet HaKiseh? So Amrulo, they told them, Kizait goes to kabetza, 3 different shooting. Kizait, like a olive, like a walnut, and like a kabetza, right? Like an egg. So Amar lehu, he told them, V'chiturtani yachnis. He says, what, you're going to start taking weights, like scales, into the washrooms in order to start measuring which type of stones you're allowed to use in the washroom? So Nimnu v'gamru, so they went and they started trying to find out, and they say it's melo ayad. What does that mean, melo ayad? It means that there's nothing fixed for the stone, right? The heter is for some of the stones which he's taking out with one hand, but nothing to do with the number or the size. So Tanya, we learned in the bright. Rabbi Yosef Omer Rabbi Yosef said, "Kedai kegoz kabetza." Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yosef Omer Melo Yad. Whatever you could put in your hand. Doesn't matter of the size or the amount. Doesn't matter. What you put it in your hand. So Tanya, we learned in the bright. Shalosh avanim mekulazalot. When you have three stones which are very sharp, right? Which means that they have a safachada. It has it's sharp. Let me see if I can get a picture. No. Okay. Mutar la'achnis lebet hakiseh. You're allowed to go into the washroom. The kamash yudan, how much is it? Rabbi Meir comes and he says ke'egos, like an egos. Okay. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Rabbi Yehuda says kabetza. It's enough like a kabetza. So Amar Rav Papa Amar Chasa kemachloket kan kach machloket be'etrog. Just like there's a machloket by here to do with the greatness of the stones, so too is the same machloket to do with an etrog, which means to do with taking the arba minim. Because there we learned shiur etrog katan is a machloket. Rabbi Meir says like an egos, and Rabbi Yehuda says kabetza, which means that how small can it be? So according to one shita, like a walnut, it's a small etrog, no? Imagine taking a walnut. The other one says not like an egg, a little bit bigger, like kabetza. So says the Gemara, 1 second. Hata matznitin, hacha braita. There it's a Mishnah that says that. There it was a Mishnah, the machlok between Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda. Here it's only a braita that we're trying to say how big was it. It's not a Mishnah. So says the Gemara, you're right. Machloket betrog is a machloket here, which means I can't say just like the machloket here is a machloket there, because there it's a Mishnah, it precedes the braita. So I cannot say the machloket here is the same machloket there, no, the opposite. Right? The machloket there is the same machloket here, which means that one preceded it. That one came first because it's more important. Okay? Next. Amar Rav Yehuda, says Rav Yehuda, avalo et apais, which means when we're talking about the stones of the Bet HaKiseh, they're not supposed to take the pais. My pais, what is the pais? Amar Bizera says Rav Bizera, karshine bavlaita. There are pieces of dirt in Babylonia, which means that since the ground was very soft, very moist, it used to become like pieces, right? Like of nechatzas, like stones. So therefore, Rabbi Yehuda says you're not allowed to take this piece and wipe yourself with it. Why? Because since it breaks very apart, so it's not fitting for wiping, and therefore it's asur moving it on Shabbat. So Amar Rava says, asur lemashmesh vitzror b'Shabbat kedei shemashmesh b'chol. You're not allowed to put pressure on the back part of yourself when you're doing your necessities, right, with a stone, right, on Shabbat, just like you do during the weekday. Why? Because many times if you're going to do that, you're going to pull out some hairs. And then what happens is that you're doing gozes, right? You're pulling out hairs of your body. You're not supposed to do that. So matkifla, right, Morzutra. So Morzutra comes and he asks the following question. He says, 1 second, listaken. What? But you're going to, if you're not going to go to the washroom, you're going to put yourself into a sakana. So therefore, what are you going to do exactly? So the answer is the Gemara, kilach hariyad. No, it's a kilach hariyad. What does it mean, kilach hariyad? It's shinui. You're doing it like backhandedly, which means that you're not doing it like the normal way that you wipe yourself. You're doing it another way. And once it's tirabanan, so therefore it's going to be permitted. So Amar Rabbi Yanai says, Rabbi Yanai, in yesh makom kavua lebet hakiseh, if you have a fixed place in the bet hakiseh, then melo ayad, you're allowed to take whatever comes to your hand. If not, so then you can only take one stone. Ke'echra, which is like the shiur of the machriya, which is basically in between the gold and like a small gold and a big gold. Because the kazait is like a small, which is like an olive, is like a small walnut. And the kabetza, which is the egg, is like a big walnut. So it's like in between. It's in between. Fine. Next. Medocha ketana shel besamim. When you have a small hammer of besamim. Okay? Amar Rav Sheshat says, in yesh aleh ed, if it has a roshem, if it has an imprint, right, of the excrement or whatever it is, it's mutar. You're allowed to take it to wipe it on Shabbat. Okay, interesting. So basically, you're allowed to take it to wipe it on Shabbat. So now says the Gemara like this. So today we're going to ask a question. There are 10 things which are going to bring a person to hemorrhoids. And these are these things. You're going to eat from alek knesuf. So you're eating from reeds of the knesuf. I don't know how you say that in English. Anyone? Binyamin, Jean Paul? Anyone? How do you translate
No.
alek? Just leaves of reeds?
Leaf, yes, one who eats the leaf of reeds.
Leaves of reeds. Okay. Alek gefanim are the leaves of the vineyard, of the orchard, right? Of the grapes.
It's about the grape, the leaf of the grape wine, and so on.
We can't hear you, Binyamin. Can you put it louder, please? Sorry.
Yeah. It said like the grape wine, the leaf of the grape wine.
The leaves of the grapevine. So that's alek gefanim. Lulave gefanim are the knokenot of gefanim. What are the knokenot? It says over here.
Shoots of grapes.
Right, they're the small branches. Okay. Next is morige behema. They're the parts of the behema which are filled with, it says over here, like with furrows or with like defects. What does that mean?
Rigid portions.
Rigid portions. Okay. That's interesting. Next, below melach, without, that means basically it's morige behema, you're eating it without salt. Fine. Number 5, shidro shel dag, you're eating the spine of a fish. Number 6, dag maliach shel b'shikut, a salted fish, you didn't cook it well enough. Number 7, if you're drinking the sediment of wine. Number 8, hamkaneach b'sid, if you're going to wipe yourself with lime. Number 9, uvecharsit. What is charsit? Crushed brick. Number 10, bitzro shekriach bo chavero. If you're going to use a stone that your friend used to wipe himself, so that's going to bring hemorrhoids. So what are you doing? Right? Some people say also, which means that you're not actually sitting down, but rather like you're bowing down on your knees, which means that you're not sitting. You're like I don't know how you call it. You're putting your pressure on your knees. You're not actually sitting down. So in all of these things, these actually bring hemorrhoids. So how could you tell me now that if you just had this midocha of bisamim, that you crushed a bisamim and it has a siman that somebody used it to wipe themselves, that you could use it also as well to wipe yourself, it brings hemorrhoids, right? Forget about the disgusting act. That's forget about that. But just the concept. So answers the Gemara like Kachias on the question. Habelach habiyavesh. First answer. One is if it's lach and one is if it's yavesh, which means that if we're talking about that it's lach, it's moist, don't use it. But if it's already dry, you could already use it and it's not going to bring any hemorrhoids. Answer number 2, v'baytema. One of them you're using it from the same side. The other one you're using it from the other side of the same stone. So it's the same stone, but you're using the other side around. So therefore, that's why it's going to be okay. You can answer a third answer, whether it was your own stone that you used previously or your friend's stone. If it's your friend's, it would cause hemorrhoids. If it's yourself, you're just reusing your same stone. So Amalei Abaye Rav Yosef says Abaye to Rav Yosef, Yardu alea geshamim v'nitashteshu. What happens now if the water came down and it basically got off all the rest of the excrement which is on this stone? So what's the halakha? Do you say that now you don't have any more of this testimony that it was used for wiping yourself? Or do you say that no, that it's still permitted? So Amalei comes and he answers, as long as it's still recognizable by what you were doing all with it, it's going to be permitted. Okay? So Bamine Rabba Barav Shila Merav asks Rabba Barav Shila from Rav. Right? From Rav. From Rav Chasta. I don't know why I had here two different, made a mistake here. Rav Chasta, from Rav Chasta. Mahu la'alotam. Right? We're on Pe'alef Amud Bet. Mahu la'alotam, are you allowed to bring them up, acharav legag, to the roof also in order to make your excrement there on the roof? Did the rabbis prohibit it because it's called like tircha, that it's a work in order to go up there, or not? So Amalei comes and he answers, Rav Chasta answers, Rav Shila, Gadol kvod ha'briot shedochel lo ta'aseh Shabbat Torah. Because kvod ha'briot is so important, the decency, the dignity of a human being, you're allowed to take it out. Kvod ha'briot pushes it off. Okay? So Yativ Meneimar v'kamalala shmaita. So right, so Meneimar was sitting down and he was saying this braita. The 8th ve Ravina leMeneimar. So Ravina came and he said to Meneimar, Reb Eliezer says, Notel adam kisam mishelefanav, lachzo bo shinav. Right? A person can take a kisam. A kisam is like a pick, a toothpick. Right? Mishelefanav in front of him. Lachzor b'shinav, in order to pick his teeth. V'chachamim omrim, and the rabbis say, lo yitol ela min ha'avus shel behema. You cannot take it unless it's from an avus shel behema, which is basically the kesamim, which are fitting for the trough of the animals, where they drink and they take all their food. Okay? So therefore there it's not muktzeh, and that's why there's no problem. So this Braita is teaching us that according to Chachamim, even in a case of Kvod HaBriot, they didn't permit to take muktzeh. So why is it then permitted to come and take it up to the roof? Here you see that it's only going to be permitted because since it was part of the evus of the animal, that's why it's permitted, not because stam you're doing it. So says the Gemara, Hachiyashna, can you compare both cases? Hatam over there, right, when you're taking a kesam from the wood, a toothpick from the wood, Adam kovea makom seuda before, you're going to fix the time of the seuda beforehand. And therefore, you have to prepare before Shabbat. So they didn't permit you to do it on Shabbat in itself. Hacha, Adam kovea makom bebet hakiseh, says what? Do you know when? Well, you know where you're going to the washroom? Sometimes you have to go to the washroom, and once upon a time, they would have to go to the roof, and they would do it on the roof. So therefore, since you weren't able to prepare beforehand, they permitted you to do so even on Shabbat. Okay? So Amar Ravuna comes and he says, Asur lipanot bistenir b'Shabbat. You're not allowed to make your necessities in a field that was planted for the first time on Shabbat. Right? So he says, why? Because the first time around, it was just to make the ground soft. And the second time around was to cover the thing. So he says, you're not allowed to do that. My time, what's the reasoning? If you're going to tell me it's because of davsha, which means that somebody's doing it in his friend's field, and it's going to be a sur because you're plowing, as it say, you're trampling upon your friend's field. Okay. So then that would be prohibited even during the week. Forget about it on Shabbat. Right? So he says, right, it says over here, you're not allowed to even in your friend's field, even during the weekday then. So it has to be because maybe you're going to be plucking the grass when you're walking. So he says, says Resh Lakish, even if this rock has some grass coming on top of it, you could pluck it out in order to go to the washroom. If you're going to pluck it from there, then it's going to be chayav chatat. So says the Gemara, you're right. But maybe what's happening is maybe you're going to take the tzror from the top, right? And then what's going to happen is you're going to put it on the bottom. And then you're closing off the ground. So you're like plowing because you're mashve gumot, you're fixing the ground. And you're going to be obligated because of Rabba. Rabba says, if you had a hole in the floor and then you covered the hole of the floor in the house, you're going to be chayav mishum boneh. In the field, you're going to be chayav mishum choresh because of plowing. So it's gufa amar Resh Lakish. So you're right, says Resh Lakish. There's a sort of rock, there's asabim, the grass is coming up, so you're allowed to start wiping yourself. So we learn from Resh Lakish, that in an atzitz nakuv, which is basically a pot, like a flower pot that it has a hole in the bottom, you're allowed to move it from one place to another place and there's no problem of tolesh. Meaning, even though it's on the ground, the fact that it has a hole on the bottom of this flower pot, it's not nourishing directly from the ground, right? Sorry, it is, but it's basically what you're doing is when you're picking it up, there's no problem of tolesh, right? So that's what he's trying to say here as well, the exact same halacha. Because he says it's still connected partly to the ground. Because even through the air, it could still continue getting its nourishment. Okay, so Matkif la Rav Kahana comes and he asks the following question. Im amru letzorech, yomru shelo letzorech. Says, in our case, the rabbis are permitting it to you because of kavod briot, because the person has to go to do his necessities. You're just permitting stam for a person to come and move in a tzitz nakuf? What does that mean? How are you comparing both cases? One of them is a case of necessity. You need to go to the washroom to clean yourself. Here, what does that have to do with anything? You're going to come and you're going to move a pot. So Amar Abaye comes and he says, Parpisa, right, and a tzitz nakuv, hoil ve'ata liyadan, lema bi bemilta. The fact that it came to our hands, we're going to say something about it. Hayamunach al gabe karka, vinichu al gabe yetedot. So the fact that it's going to be placed on the ground, and you placed it on pegs, michayev mishum tolesh, you're going to be chayav because of tolesh. Tolesh means you're kotzer, you're reaping. Hayam munach al gabi yetedot. If it was placed on yetedot, on pegs, minicho al gabi karka, and then you placed it on the ground, hayam mishum notea. So then you're planting. So it all depends what you're doing exactly. If it was on the floor and you put it on top of pegs, you're tolesh. You just uprooted it from the ground. And if it was on top of pegs and you put it on the floor, you just planted. Now it's going in the ground. Okay? So that was a little bit about tzitz nakuv, which is basically, again, a flower pot, which basically on the bottom it has a hole in it. Okay? Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says, Asur lekaneach becheres b'Shabbat. You're not allowed to wipe yourself with an earthenware on Shabbat, a piece of pottery. Why? My tama, what's the reasoning? If you're going to tell me it's because of sakana, so then afilu b'chol nami. So then even during the weekday it's prohibited. Ve'ela, but rather mishum kshafim. It has to be because of kshafim. It has to be because of some type of witchcraft or because of things like that. So as the Gemara, so afilu b'chol nami lo. So then even during the weekday, no then. Right? Ve'ela mishum arsharat nimin. So then it has to be because of you're taking away the hairs. You're cutting hairs. So davar shouldn't meet kavenhu. So you don't have kavanah. You think a person cares now if he's going to wipe himself, that hair is going to come out from the bottom, or he's taking it out? He's not. He doesn't have kavanah for that. He doesn't have kavanah. He's taking out, removing hairs. So Amar lehu Rav Natan bar Oshia, Kavra Rabba Amar Minta Nema Batama. For sure, if such a great rabbi said something, it's a reason. So let's try to see what exactly was the reason. Lo mibaye bechol dasur. Right? We're not going to say that during the weekday it's going to be asur, right? Because of kshafim, because of witchcraft. Right? Because since you're able to do it with a stone, so the Chachamim didn't want to permit using an earthenware. Aval b'Shabbat, but on Shabbat. Maybe I would have thought that since the earthenware has a utensil, it's called a utensil, so then it's permitted for you to do so. Kamash Malan comes teach you that you're prohibited to do so. Okay? So Rava Matnila, Rava comes and he's learning this Isur of Rabbi Yochanan, Mishum Asharat Nimin, only because of removing the hairs. The Rabbi Yochanan, so he had a question between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yochanan. Does Rabbi Yochanan actually say you're not allowed to wipe yourself with an earthenware on Shabbat? So you see from here, Davar shouldn't mitkaven asur. Davar shouldn't mitkaven is going to be asur. Rabbi Yochanan says, Halacha is like a stam mishnah. Halacha is like a stam mishnah. Utnana, we learned in the Mishnah Nazir. Nazir chofef fasfes. Right? The Nazir, right, is going to come and be able to take off. He's able to, wash his hair, even though it could come out that, it's going to come out hairs. Avalo surek, but he's not to brush his hair. Meaning, he's not allowed to start brushing his hair, but his hair will for sure come out, but he's allowed to wash his hair, even though some hair will come out through doing it. And la machvarta, but rather it's correct, like Rav Natan bar Oshia, which means that he said it's because of sakana and kshafim, because it's a dangerous or because of witchcraft. So therefore, that's why they said that it was going to be prohibited. So what is the witchcraft? Mike Shafim, what is the witchcraft exactly? The ones that happened, that Rav Chasta and Rav Huna were going on a boat. There was a woman, right? That's, again, this is a very wealthy, affluent woman, whenever it says matronita, right? That she also wanted to go on the boat. Let me go on it with you. They didn't want to. Right? Why? She said something. She stopped the boat. She basically tied down the boat. The boat couldn't move. Right? Amru inu milta v'shadyuha. Right? So then they went and they said something and they permitted the boat to go. Right? So this is all back and forth. Imagine, competition. The woman, the sorcerer with the rabbis. Yeah? What happened? Amra lehu, so she told them, Maya lechu, what am I going to do for you guys? You don't wipe yourselves with in the bit of you never kill the lice on louse on your clothing. And you don't take out a vegetable, right, from a guda that was already the ganan, the person that was getting them all, all the bundles all put together, and you don't eat it from there. Which means somebody that does one of these three things, they get affected by shafim. Right? But since you guys are so careful, you're not affected. and therefore they permitted it within 1 second. So she tried stopping it with her witchcraft. In 2 seconds, they permitted it, and they just continued going as if nothing happened. So she said, what can I do with you guys? You guys are above it. So obviously that just shows us, though, that the cheres, the wiping himself with cheres, is an actual problem for witchcraft. You could get damaged by witchcraft, and that's why we said it's going to be prohibited. Okay? So we finished. This is going to be